Hello, welcome to this section of Module 5. My name is David Ferrer, and I'm a PhD student and a member of the UNED. My main area of interest is humor at the workplace, and this is the subject we are going to deal with. We'll start seeing what the connection between emotional intelligence and humor is. Then we will see what the current trends in humor studies are, how humor can be analyzed linguistically, and finally we'll see some examples of the use of humor at the workplace. Daniel Goleman defined his concept of emotional intelligence as the set of skills we need in order to gain awareness of and manage emotions. Such abilities allow us an optimal mental health, better personal relationships, but also a better job performance. Goleman states that humor is a crucial factor in emotional intelligence at the workplace. That is why humor has been introduced in business training, and humor consultants have been hired by corporations. If we have a look at the points which human consultants hold, we'll see that apparently humor improves creativity and self-confidence. It fosters better communication and openness to change, and it also blocks negative emotions, builds rapport and motivation. Regarding the nature of humor, since ancient times, authors like Plato have associated humor to a superiority quality. You may think, for instance, about racist jokes in which humor is used to undermine a target community or individual. For our purposes, we will relate this theory to negative humor. We will focus on positive humor. To explain positive humor, we will be focusing on the Incongruity Theory, which is a theory which was started by Francis Hutchinson in the 18th century. Incongruity, according to Morel, is a mismatch between our expectations and real experience. When such incongruity is harmless, it may lead to comical amusement. Think about an incongruity like popping up Jack in the Box. It can lead us to two types of reactions. It can lead to negative emotions such as fear or anger, or on the contrary, it can lead to comical amusement. To find this humorous, we need the incongruity to be filtered by emotional disengagement, also known as mental distance. As quite an exaggeration of this emotional disengagement, we could quote Mel Brooks' definition of tragedy and comedy. Tragedy is when I cut my finger, comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. But of course, humor himself can be a tool for emotional disengagement. Just like in this picture, you may choose to see a girl's face or a sax player. Humor gives us resources for mental flexibility. It gives us the way to build a distance from the perception you have. See how, for instance, if you are caught in a traffic jam, your emotions may be of anger, probably. But how you can manage to simply reframe your perception, get deeper awareness of your emotions, and probably escape the self and now. We quote George Carlin, "Have you ever noticed when you are driving that anyone who's driving slower than you is an idiot and anyone driving faster than you is a maniac?" For now we have related emotion and humor. while humor is possible outside of the language items, like visual humor, visual gags in silent movies, most of it is carried out through language, like in TV comedies or in everyday life use of humor. But language is not only a medium for humor. Language can be a source of humor, and at all different linguistic levels. Let's take phonetics. Puns, like this. What did the quarter say to the penny? You don't make much sense. In fact, we are here playing with two words which sound quite similar but have different meanings, sense and sense. What happens here is that really the incongruous combination of both as one word leads us to trigger a humorous effect. Going now to the semantics field, we find that funny itself as an adjective can have two meanings, funny comical and funny peculiar. By the way, these two definitions correlate quite well with the two types of reactions that we have seen that maybe may come after an incongruity. All right, so you have funny, two meanings, but you can use humor, like in this joke. We've located the source of that funny noise you've been hearing. Okay, what provokes humor here is that you have funny, two meanings in one utterance. Regarding pragmatics, in conversation, we make quite a use of indirect speech acts. For instance, in this comic strip you are about to see between this girl and a pig, it starts with a question, do you have the time? Our pragmatic competence tell us that, in fact, this is not a yes or no question. This is just a polite request for time. So when girl says, do you have the time? She's not really asking pig if he has the time. She is asking him the time. We then expect pig to answer and give the time. In fact, what pig replies is yes, and that's quite an uncooperative reply. Here, the mismatch is between what you ask and the reply that follows. Again, the nature of this joke is the ambiguity in language, in this case in speech acts. An uneasy silence follows, and girl states, I hate you. Indeed, the girl is displeased and shows so, because pig has been quite overly uncooperative in conversation. Up to now, you may say that to explain a joke is to simply get it rid of its comical amusement load. But that's a general truth that can only be told in general. In particular, like in this joke, if I have to explain the joke, it's not funny. That would be a sensible general truth. But the thing is that in court, you are supposed just to reply to the judge's questions and maybe just tell him about some practical joke that may have led to mischief. So in here, the mismatch again works as a source for humor. Okay, we have seen a series of humor instances based on language ambiguities, on this sort of duality. In linguistics, this is called a script opposition, and has led to some of the theories we hold in linguistics that explain the phenomenon of verbal humor. We could start with the script-based semantic theory of humor by Ruskin, which was further developed in the general theory of verbal humor by Attardo and Ruskin. They proposed a series of elements to analyze verbal humor, such as script opposition, logical mechanism, situation, target, narrative, strategy, and language. This is today maybe the basis of most developing ideas about verbal humor, and so other authors like Ruiz Grillo or Alba Huerth have taken these basics as part of their research. We could now try to make a brief analysis of a joke using the GTFEH. Okay, you have here a strip, a Dilbert strip. I read for you. What do you get when you combine cognitive bias with inaccurate information? Our business strategy, ha 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 ha. I guess I should keep my day job. Good luck with that. Okay, for our purposes, as this is a joke within a joke, we will just focus on the first joke, these two pictures here. The characters, you may know Dilbert with glasses. His co-worker is the one holding a coffee mug, and at his back you have their boss. Okay, here we find a script opposition between what you can expect a company's strategy to be and how it is described by this worker. You may argue that logical mechanism is a false analogy or maybe hyperbole. The situation is quite clear here with this coffee mug the man is holding. Can be coffee break, just a relaxed conversation at the workplace. Yeah. The target is indeed the company's management, its business strategy. The narrative strategy follows the pattern of a joke. We can see that we have some clear markers of jokes like this, that beginning with what do you get when you combine cognitive, what do you get when you, then there is the punchline, our business strategy, see the bold letter there, and the tell us and laughter, ha ha ha. As evaluation, we could say that the joke itself is a covert negative evaluation of the company's business strategy. And the joke itself is negatively evaluated by hearers. Apparently, Dilbert does not react, and the boss seems quite angry. Now, let's get to some examples of humor at work. In here, we can see boss David Wren trying to narrow the gap between him as the boss and Dawn, the receptionist. He's just, if you see the video somewhere else, you'll see that indeed he tries to play the hard boss. Where are those papers? What have you done with that? Just to then go back to a friendly attitude and show her that in fact he is just one of the team, and so he can make light humor with anyone. Well, one of the functions of humor is this building rapport. Now, well, orders and prohibitions are quite a delicate matter, and more so when they are for your customers. So in these two signs, we have examples of how to deal with it with humor. On the left, we have a sign that invites you, please, to take a number, and it does so as if it was a patriotic act. On the right, you are invited to please not walk in unexpected. This could be, for instance, from a hairdresser's. Of course, you must know that the picture is of actor Christopher Walken, so it sounds like walking. You may have an issue with your job. Some people may criticize you or think you are not fit for it. That's what happened to Ronald Reagan when he was president, the oldest president ever in 1984, and still running for re-election. In his debate with Moindel, he did, by humor, what he could to minimize and reverse this issue. I quote from Reagan, I will not make an issue of this, I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I'm not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience. Okay, this is quite laughing matter. And it also shows how Reagan can play self-confidence. Self-confidence and humor can also be performed by self-deprecating humor, which is more or less what in this episode of the Colbert Report Obama did. Obama here played the part of Colbert in his own show. He spoke about the US president himself in the third person and somehow criticized or put doubts in his office. But again, what he did is to make an appeal to the young to support Obamacare using what is a comical format. So that again, we can see as an example of humor as a communicative strategy. In conclusion, up to now, we have seen how humor and emotions relate. What the functions of verbal humor at the workplace can be, and how linguistics can help us to understand and perform better humor in our current professional and institutional lives. I hope this has been of use for you. You may have enjoyed it, and see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.